and today I'll be talking about COINTELPRO, also known as the Counterintelligence Program. Imagine you're going to the supermarket for your groceries, hanging out and chatting with your friends, walking down a street, even sleeping in your room. Seems mundane, right? But imagine that during this time, someone is taking down notes and trying to figure out who you interact with and what you're doing. While this might sound a bit far fetched, this actually reflects a government program from the 1960s initiated by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Named COINTELPRO, short for Counterintelligence Program, it was created by J. Edgar Hoover in 1959, who you might recognize as the first director of the FBI. It was created to survey, infiltrate, and disrupt the activities of various domestic parties in the US. Domestic parties in this case refer to American political organizations that practiced extreme views on certain social topics. Through the program, the government essentially wanted to monitor any extremist organizations that existed during this point in time by infiltrating the group, bugging members, and keeping covert records of the organization's activities. So, what extremist organizations did COINTELPRO target? There were three in particular that were targeted the most. First off was the Communist Party of America, which was kept under high radar. This goes without saying that the Communist Party had a very negative influence in the country because they would outwardly support the Soviet Union's communist ideals, which was especially terrible during the Cold War. The second group was the KKK, or virtually any other white supremacist group. This group was targeted because of the violent tactics that were used by the Klan members, which would create hysteria amongst the people. Lastly, the Black Panther Party, or any other black extremist groups, were targeted at that time because of the underlying fear that by organizing protests, the people will eventually start a racial revolution. In fact, while Martin Luther King Jr. was not part of the Black Panther Party, he was one of the most targeted individuals at that time due to his ability to rally people and push them towards social reform. There's a common thread here that resonates between the careful selection of extremist groups to target, and this is because of the threat of communism. Especially during the Cold War, the US was threatened by communist ideals, and the government, specifically the FBI, felt that these groups that rallied people against political and social policies could potentially overthrow the American system of government and lead to a communism oriented America. Eventually, in 1971, COINTELPRO was disbanded due to the obvious breach of security and privacy that surveilling these groups caused. And so, due to COINTELPRO, it was at this time when people all around the world became aware of the sinister ways in which a government program can unlawfully keep tabs on citizens.